Good afternoon, Steve again here from the Y. Next thing we're going to make, somebody Facebooked and said, I got some frozen squash. And again, I'm not sure what to do with it. It's been in there a while. And I said, let's see what we can figure out. So we're going to use, in this recipe, we're going to use, obviously, the frozen squash. I got some leftover white rice. Doesn't really matter what kind of rice you got. I've got a couple of green onions. It's going to take a little egg to bind it together. Parmesan cheese, a little goat cheese, and last but not least, some sriracha. If you don't like sriracha, you can leave that out. It'll be perfectly good just as well. So the first thing I want to do is to kind of make this kind of like a crab cake, so to speak. There's no meat involved, but we'll need this egg to bind it together. Again, just stir it up a little so it gets ready to be the same consistency. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a decent amount of my squash, probably about, a cup and a half. That was probably 3/4 of that package. And then I'm going to just kind of stir that around a little bit. And now we're going to start to thicken things up. So I'm going to take some of this white rice. Here we're going to use, there it is, a little bit of rosemary. If you've got a mortar and pestle, hey, don't be afraid to use it. It brings out the flavor in your spices. So I'm going to start by dicing these green onions up. Again, I just washed them up, cleaned them up, and we're just going to go not real fine, but you don't want big old chunks in there either. Some that'll mix up with the rest of the squash. And then we're just going to put those in there. Okay, next going in here is a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Why? Because I had it left over and I wanted to get rid of it. And it'll add just a little flavor, a little binder, cooks up well. Okay, then I'm going to take that rosemary, put just a little bit in my mortar and pestle. As you can see, it's just not too much there. Maybe a teaspoon and a half. And then grind it around, and all those little kind of needly looking things are going to grind out into a nice fine powder. And oh yeah, that's much better. Now we're just going to put that in there. I use it all up. We're going to give that a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of salt and pepper. I'm using some sea salt because I like sea salt. A little less iodine. A little garlic. Okay, then I'm going to mix that together with my hands because I want to make sure we get all that incorporated together well. If it comes up too soupy, you can add some more rice. That'll help bind things together. You can add just a little bit of breadcrumbs, that sort of thing. I think we're pretty good. I'm going to leave it fairly loose where I want to make. And make sure, let that sit for a minute. Okay, now, got my pan going here. Again, these are going to be similar to a cake. You can call it a rice cake. So basically, we're going to make little patties out of them, like a hamburger patty. I put just a little bit of canola oil in the pan so that they don't stick and so that they brown over nice. And then what I did is I'm going to take some goat cheese. Now, I buy big chunks of goat cheese, but a lot of times it goes bad because I don't use it fast enough. So it's perfectly good cheese to freeze. You can put it in the freezer, and then what I did today was I just cut a piece off big enough for what I needed, maybe about that thick. And I'm just going to pop that in the microwave, 25 seconds. If you cook it too long, you'll start to see it melt down. Just keep your eye on it if you're not sure what you're doing. And as soon as you start to see it change kind of consistencies, and you go, that's enough, because the heat of these patties will help that all along the way. So, again, I'm going to take this mixture. I'm just going to make a hamburger out of it. And then I'm going to put that in my pan. Make them fairly thin. The way we're making this, thin may be better. You just want to make sure that they're going to hold together. We're going to come back here and start to look at how are they cooking. Everything's looking good. It's a little hot on the stove. I'm going to actually use a spatula on this one instead of a rubber spatula because I want to be able to get underneath these. Check them a little. They can be a little fragile. And that also allows me to kind of push down on them. while they're cooking to keep those different ingredients coming together to keep that patty together. All right, let's see if we can flip these. There's one. Uh-oh. And there's two. And there's three. Now, they're crumbling a little, but I'm not going to worry about it. If I had to do it over again, I would probably add a little bit more rice to bind those together. But they're going to be perfectly fine. So I'm going to turn that heat down just a little bit. And then we're going to start getting the rest of our plate ready. This is one of those, it just depends how spicy you like it. So I take that sriracha, make sure the top's on. And we're just going to give it a little zinger on the plate. Then I'm going to take my patties, because I think they're coming up on done. I'm going to take my one patty, if it'll hold together. Oh, she held together pretty well. Then I'm going to take this goat cheese. I want to put it right on top of that first patty. Oh, lovely. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this second patty, and I'm going to put that right on top. Now, if I want to get fancy, I could save a little bit of that green onion. You just put it on the top, but you've got a nice, nice side dish. So let's take a look at that. Again, I'll be able to kind of get as much sriracha on there as I want. That goat cheese in the middle makes that all nice and creamy with just a little zing from that sriracha. That's a winner. All right, that was fun. Keep sending me your contributions, shall I say, or what you can find in your freezer, and we'll make something out of it next that you probably never had before. Everybody is a part of our Y family. We miss you. We can't wait to get our facilities open again so that we can see everybody's smiling faces and everybody can get back to a sense of normalcy. Stay tight, stay tough. Love the ones you're with. Thanks. Have a great day.